My 48-year-old female, older daughter, 24-year-old female, gave birth to her fourth child 6 months ago. She used to work as a dishwasher, but due to health issues stemming from her second child, chronic back pain, and then her third child, after effects of a broken tailbone and more chronic pain that made standing and moving around hard, she can no longer work. She tried her best, getting an office temp job, but after about a week, the woman supervising her said, "This isn't working out." She was a very uptight woman who claims just because it always took her 3 days max to train everybody else to the data entry work, that she can't just be a good person and accommodate slower learners. That woman likely caused her to get a bad reputation at the temp agency, and she didn't get hired elsewhere. My daughter's boyfriend, 28-year-old male, works at Walmart. He had many more hours when she was pregnant, but since then his hours have ebbed and flowed. He said he will take a day in the future to look for jobs, but it's the holidays and he's busy with family. I feel a lot of empathy for my daughter and her boyfriend and wish I could help them out more. But I am a single mom working for a nursing home where I struggle to get full-time hours, and my ex ran up a lot of debt in both our names and is now living in another country. My younger daughter, 17-year-old female, has a college fund. The amount in it would be enough to pay a large amount of a 2-year community college tuition, given the scholarships grants she would likely get. She's applied to 4-year universities with the understanding that she'd be taking out loans and working, so she's deciding between 4 years and community college. The other shoe dropped after my older daughter's landlord found out that they were having her boyfriend's brother and girlfriend living in their 1-bedroom apartment in exchange for them helping with the rent, and they got evicted. My daughter agrees it was wrong to lie to the landlord, and both parents are depressed because her boyfriend got a job offer 1 state away and they would have to move away from their support network. They came to me asking for help so they could have more time to find financial stability here. I was torn, but seeing my grandkids, I knew my duty was to care for the most vulnerable in the family. So I will be making calls to liquidate my daughter's college fund, saying yes to understanding the penalties, and told my daughter this. She got very cold and said, "You always brag about having a good memory. I hope you remember this moment then." She has not spoken to me since. Spent Thanksgiving inquiring with family friends to see if hospitals are keen to hire college students for the kitchen or reception or anything. Made some cryptic posts about how she hopes she'll be grateful one day that she won't have the privilege of studying anything outside of something technical because she needs something where she'll always be able to find a job in. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You're the idiot. You've got this completely backwards. You are rewarding the daughter making poor life choices at the expense of the daughter who is trying. Caring for the vulnerable is fine, but you can't care only for the vulnerable. By doing so, you are unwittingly incentivizing your children to keep failing. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Why does your daughter have 4 kids if she can't support any of them? They should be using birth control and you should not be coddling them. Now you are sacrificing your younger daughter's future because her older sister can't find a condom. Comment 3. You're the idiot. Your older daughter is immature and so is her boyfriend. So you turn around and support their bad decisions at the expense of your younger daughter. Edit. Correct husband to boyfriend. My point still stands. Now for the update. So, in a stunning turn of events, my sister, who's been living in another state for years, somehow caught wind of our predicament. I hadn't even thought to reach out to her, given that we'd been estranged for so long over some family drama that now seems petty in hindsight. Turns out, she's done well for herself, founding a tech startup that's just gone public, and she got in touch out of the blue. She called me one evening, and after the initial shock and awkward small talk, she laid out a proposition that felt like it was straight out of a movie. She offered to pay off my medical bills, buy a small starter home for my older daughter and her family, and replenish my younger daughter's college fund, with one condition. She wanted us all to attend family counseling to work through our decades of issues. She said it was non-negotiable. She wanted to invest in our family's future, not just throw money at the problem. And if that wasn't enough to knock me off my feet, the next day, my daughter's boyfriend pulled me aside. In his hand was a crumpled lottery ticket, a winner. Not jackpot big, but life-altering in our situation. He'd bought it on a whim, never expecting to win anything. He insisted that this was the fresh start he needed to get his life on track and provide for my daughter and the grandkids. But drama doesn't end, does it? The windfall caused a rift between him and my older daughter. She was furious that he'd wasted money on a lottery ticket when they were so tight on cash. The tension escalated until he stormed out, saying he needed time to think. We were all worried sick he might not come back, but after a couple of days of radio silence, he returned, apologetic and humbled. They're now working on their relationship, with the unexpected twist of financial counseling as part of their plan. Amidst this, my younger daughter faced her own roller coaster. She was initially devastated about her college fund, but after my sister's offer, she's been in a state of disbelief and gratitude. However, she surprised us all by deciding to defer college for a year. She wants to spend this time volunteering and exploring what she really wants to study. A decision she says was inspired by the recent upheavals and reflections on what's truly important. It's only been 2 weeks, but my world has shifted on its axis. We're all cautiously optimistic, knowing full well that money doesn't solve everything and that the road to healing our familial wounds will be long and fraught. But for the first time in a long while, I've allowed myself to feel a glimmer of hope, and that in itself feels like a little miracle. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. You're the idiot for even hesitating to accept your sister's offer. She's trying to make amends by providing financial assistance, and the condition of family counseling is more than fair. It's a chance to heal old wounds for everyone's benefit. Don't let pride or past grievances prevent your family from moving forward and receiving the help you clearly need. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your sister's offer comes with strings attached, but it sounds like she genuinely wants to rebuild the relationship. Therapy could be the best thing for all of you, and it's a sign she's invested in more than just throwing money at the problem. It's okay to be cautious, but this could be a turning point towards a healthier family dynamic. Comment 3. Not the idiot, and good on your daughter's boyfriend for returning and working things out. It seems like everyone's making an effort here, and it's okay to be wary of sudden changes. Accepting help doesn't mean you owe anyone anything beyond what's agreed upon. Counseling, financial or otherwise, can only improve things. Your younger daughter's choice to defer college shows maturity in managing her life's direction after such upheaval. Now, for the next story. I, 30-year-old female, have a 6-week-old baby and just told my husband's entire family that they are not allowed around her at all until she's 6 to 12 months old. I made this decision without my husband, and I don't feel I'm wrong at all, and I refuse to backtrack on my decision, regardless of how it makes him feel. Long story short, both my mother-in-law and sister-in-law came to see the baby last week, and a few days following this, the baby got sick, super congested, fussy, puking, etc. I bring her to her doctor. She's fine but has an upper respiratory infection. Doctors tell me to continue to breastfeed on demand, and they gave her an RSV vaccination. Well, my husband called his mom when we were leaving the doctor's, and he had her on speaker because his phone is busted and only works that way. He gives her the rundown on what's going on with the baby, and that's when she basically tells us that not only was she exposed to the flu by one of her clients, but apparently my sister-in-law's husband had infection 19 the week prior to her coming to see the baby. Neither of them told us this when making the decision to come meet our daughter. In fact, I specifically asked them if either of them were sick or around anyone who was, and they said no. So they lied to me about it and continued their facade while at my home because my husband's other sister called, while my mother-in-law and sister-in-law were at my home, and I told her she couldn't come over because her daughter had the flu and I wasn't risking it. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law heard me say this on the phone and still acted like they hadn't been exposed to anything. Needless to say, I confronted them both via phone, and I was met with a, "You need to build the baby's immune system, blah blah, it's not a big deal, she will be fine," etc., etc. So I told them that neither of them were welcome here or around my daughter until she was 6 to 12 months old, if then, because they are selfish as frick. My husband is absolutely pissed right now. He says I'm going to isolate him and make him depressed, he has a history of depression, and that he needs his family, big family man, and that I'm selfish to do this to him right before their big family holiday celebrations, Thanksgiving and Christmas. I basically told him I didn't care. Our daughter not becoming sick is my top priority, and his family doesn't give a frick about that, so they aren't going to be around her. My friends also say I'm wrong because this should be my husband's decision too. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, RSV is no joke for infant, and you need to protect the baby's health. OP husband can visit his family anytime by himself. Comment 2. Ask your husband how depressed he will be when the baby dies because of their selfish lying. Not the idiot. Comment 3. Not the idiot. My newborn almost died because of RSV. Look out for your baby. No one else is. Now, for the update. Hey all, I wanted to share some good news with you all regarding the family situation I posted about some time ago. After many long conversations and some tears, things have started to look up. First off, my husband and I agreed to see a family therapist to navigate our communication and decision-making as new parents. It was tough at first, admitting to each other and ourselves where we could improve, but it made a world of difference. My husband expressed how left out he felt when I made the decision about his family's access to our baby on my own. Hearing him out in that setting allowed me to see things through his perspective, and I realized how important it was to include him in these decisions. Our therapist helped us establish some ground rules for family visits, emphasizing open communication and the health and safety of our baby. We also worked on setting boundaries as a team. With that foundation, we approached my husband's family. I'll admit I was nervous, fearing a backlash, but it turns out they were feeling regretful about their previous actions and the tension it had caused. When we sat down to talk, there were apologies all around. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law both acknowledged that they had made a mistake by not being upfront about their potential exposure to illnesses. We decided to start fresh. They agreed to keep us informed about their health status before any visits and to follow any precautions we requested. They even suggested scheduling regular video calls until we were all comfortable with in-person visits, which has been going great. Fast forward a few months, and we've had a few successful in-person visits with the grandparents. They've been incredibly respectful of our boundaries, always wearing masks and keeping their distance as much as possible. There was this moment during the last visit when I caught my husband smiling as he watched his mom holding our baby, both wearing masks, but the love was unmistakable. It warmed my heart to see them bond like that. As for my husband, he's been doing much better. We've both been working on not just parenting as a team, but supporting each other as partners. It's an ongoing process, but we're both committed to it. Seeing our family come together after such a rocky start has been incredibly healing. Our baby is thriving, and it feels like we're finally finding our rhythm as a family. Thanks to everyone who offered advice and support when I needed it most. It's been a journey, but I'm hopeful for what's to come. Peace and health to all of you and your loved ones. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Seeking therapy was a smart move to reinforce your family unit. It's great that you've set boundaries with the in-laws. Apologies and fresh starts are not easy, so kudos to all for the mature approach. You're showing that you prioritize your child's well-being and the health of your family. Keep thriving. Comment 2. You're the idiot. You seem to be patting yourself on the back a bit too much. While it's positive that you went to therapy and made amends, the way you present it feels like you're looking for a gold star. Remember, maintaining family relationships is an ongoing process, not just a one-time fix. Humility goes a long way. Comment 3. Not the idiot at all. It's fantastic that your family is respecting your boundaries. By being proactive and seeking therapy, you've shown a commitment to your family's health and happiness. The fact that your baby is thriving is the best outcome you could have hoped for. Good on you for being such a solid team with your husband. Now, for the next story. My wife always complains about how clumsy I am. I do drop things by accident when my hand hits it unknowingly, and so I do agree with her. But it's not that bad that I'm knocking over things every day. I really just laughed this off before when my wife brought it up, but during the pregnancy, she often started to say how she won't let me hold the child because of how clumsy I am. Again, I laughed it off at times, and sometimes when I did take it seriously, I told her there's a difference between knocking over the TV remote and dropping a kid from your arms. Still, I did not think about it as much. But then my child was born, and I was shocked at how reluctant she was to even let me hold the baby in the hospital. I suddenly saw her panicking when I was even around the baby. It caused a lot of fights, and they've continued till now. It's been a couple of months, and I have not been able to hold my baby more than thrice, including once when I held her at the hospital. She now sleeps in the other bedroom with the baby and doesn't even let me hold my own daughter, even if I am sitting on the bed where there wouldn't even be a remote chance of her ever getting hurt, even if I dropped her. She almost never leaves our daughter alone with me. I suggested I'd use a child carrier to take her on walks, but she refuses that too, oftentimes suggesting that I'd tip over and fall face first. I think she is overreacting, and I have also suggested going to therapy together, but all she said about the suggestion is, "Talking won't fix your body." She keeps telling me that I'll be the reason that our child will die if I ever held her, and as a father, I should realize how dangerous it is and comply with her. All this has really affected me, and I've become a lot more self-conscious. Every time I mess up doing something, she tells me that it's proof that what she's saying is right. I'm a calm person and a pacifist at most times. Even during our fights, I've tried to reason with her, find a middle ground, but I've realized that there isn't any. I love my wife and my child more than myself, but I cannot continue this, considering how I can't even hold my own child, play with her, take her on walks, etc. The day before yesterday night, after a fight, I snuck into her bedroom after my wife was asleep. I went to my daughter. I didn't hold her. I just held her hand and looked at her. I was emotional, and I did whisper a few things to her, not that she could hear or understand because she was fast asleep. But this woke my wife up, who was right beside her. She screamed at first, and then told me to leave the room immediately. I told her that I was not going to hold her, and that I was just there to see her and hold her hand. But she didn't believe me, and accused me of being ignorant and selfish. I did lose my temper too, and I offloaded these entire 2 months of frustration onto her. I feel terrible about how I acted that night, and I'm staying at a hotel as she told me to leave the next morning. I wasn't in the mood to argue either, so I quietly left. I cannot seem to get over any of what has happened, and even though it hurts so much, I think I am going to part ways. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Kinda sounds like she has postpartum anxiety or psychosis. Can you talk to her doctor and explain what's been happening? Comment 2. Your wife needs medical attention. This screams postpartum anxiety. Comment 3. Your wife is not well and needs immediate medical attention. Now, for the update. After that night, I left to stay with a friend and did a lot of thinking. The distance gave me clarity, and I realized that, for the sake of our family, I had to find a way to bridge this widening gap. I wrote my wife a letter, pouring out everything, my fears, my love for our child, and my feeling of being pushed out of their lives. I left it with her, not expecting much, but hoping she'd at least read it. A few days later, she called me, and her voice was different. It was soft and trembling. She admitted she read the letter multiple times and that it broke her heart to see things from my perspective. She said she didn't realize the depth of my pain and agreed that we needed to seek professional help if we were to heal as a family. We started therapy, both individually and as a couple. It wasn't easy. Unpacking our fears and insecurities was tough. But one session, our therapist facilitated a particularly powerful exercise. With their guidance, my wife allowed me to hold our baby in the safety of the therapy room. As I cradled our child, something shifted in her eyes. She saw me not as a clumsy man, but as a loving father, fragile in my own way, but capable of tenderness and care. Months have passed, and while it's not perfect, it's so much better. We've learned to communicate more effectively and to trust each other's parenting. Our home is filled with more laughter now, and I get to hold our little one. Watching them grow and feeling their warmth against my chest is a joy I can't begin to describe. Last night, something beautiful happened. I was rocking our baby to sleep when my wife joined us, wrapping her arms around us both. She whispered an apology for ever doubting me and thanked me for fighting for our family. We stood there in silence, a little family united. It's moments like these that remind me that growth and healing are possible with patience and love. I'm grateful for second chances and the opportunity to be the father and husband I've always wanted to be. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. It takes a massive amount of self-awareness to step back and reflect on issues in a relationship. Writing a letter was a solid way to communicate your feelings without the heat of an argument, and seeking therapy shows a commitment to change. Your efforts to rebuild the relationship and trust are commendable. It's not easy to be vulnerable, but you did it for your family. Kudos to you for taking those steps. Comment 2. You're the idiot for initially feeling disconnected and not taking immediate action to address the issues with your wife and child. Emotional withdrawal can be incredibly damaging in a relationship and to a child's development. It's good that you're making amends now, but it doesn't erase the pain caused by your initial disengagement. It's crucial to be present and communicative, especially during challenging times. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Taking time to reflect is a healthy approach when you're feeling lost. It's better than lashing out or making rash decisions that could harm your family further. Your dedication to therapy and improving communication is a testament to your love for your family. You're not just saying you want to be better, you're putting in the work. That's what being a loving partner and father looks like. Keep it up. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.